Go.
Hello, Las Vegas. This is Rolando with Face the Tribune. Remember, if you have nothing to hide, if you're not corrupted, you can face the Tribune. And with me today, of course, my co-host, Mr. Ed
Ewing?
No, Crash Philly. Oh my God. Yeah.
Good morning.
I'm sorry, Clark. Mr. Producer is here.
How are you?
And with me, I got the honor to have again Mr. Ed William, former Clark County Republican Party chairman, and now working for, welcome Ed, you're working now for Crescent Harry.
That's right, Congressman Hardy, you bet.
Okay, and what make you, let's go right into this whole thing here. What make you leave the position that you have? Because I think somebody tricked you to do that.
Well, you know, what it comes down to, I've said from the very, very beginning, I am here to win elections. You know, that's my focus. Whenever anybody has ever come to me with something, it's like, okay, that's interesting. How does it help our candidates win elections? That's my only question. So, you know, we went through the convention, and one of the things we do at the convention is elect a new board. And so we got a lot of new board members. And, you know, frankly, many of them expressed to me that they had different priorities. And I'm not here to waste my time. We've got elections to win. This is a very important year. We've got elections that are critical to the state, elections that are critical to this nation. So it's like, okay, if that's what you guys want to do, you guys go ahead and do whatever that is. I'm going to go somewhere where I can be effective. So I am still here to win elections. I'm still here to support our candidates. That's what I do. So that's why I made the change.
How is Mr. Crescent Harry is going to make a decision about supporting Donald Trump or not?
Well, I think you're going to see that most of our federal officials will support whoever the nominee is. That's going to be the case. You know, that's just the way it is. I think in the end, I think everyone is probably going to support who the nominee is.
Oh, good.
So I mean, that's
Yeah,
good.
it wouldn't make
because-
any sense otherwise.
yeah,
Gee.
exactly. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, and that's but you know, that's a whole different kind of topic. And we have a Senate race, we have congressional races, we have state races. We've got a lot of other things on our plate.
You know, to be honest with you, I found kind of strange that the guy who was in charge of the convention director or whatever title he was, is also the state director, the
budget chairman.
the budget chairman
Yes.
for the state office.
Correct.
That's not the title, but something like that.
Yeah, he's the budget chairman for the state party, right?
Okay, I thought that kind of strange. I thought he probably was playing a double agent in your case, because why would the state officer have to come and help the county officer to work on it?
We had a lot of people come in from the state into the county party. We had Catherine Noose. She was the registrar that was in control of all the delegate process. She is on the executive board of the state party as well.
Is that common to do?
No, not particularly.
No.
You know,
So
usually you operate them as two different organizations, but you know, in this state, it seems that there's a regular cycle that the state party has the desire to take over the largest county in the state and do their thing with it. So that's what they like to do. So you know, if that's what they want to do, they're welcome to it. You know, we saw how this played out in 2012. We saw what happened.
Yeah.
You know, we'll do it again. Okay.
2010,
Yeah.
2014.
So I look forward to seeing what their plans are for this year.
And what is your plan after the election?
Well, after the election? Oh, that's 6 months away.
Besides taking a vacation for a few days,
I might take a few days off, yeah.
I don't think you are one of those guys that like to take long vacations. I don't.
No, I get very antsy.
Yeah.
You know, I get relaxed and then I start dreaming up new businesses. So, you know, I have to be careful.
Okay, so how can the Republican Party, both the state and the county, can work to try to work together and have unity? You know, this legislation is controlled by the Republicans now, right? The Republicans are the
The
majority.
Republicans have a majority, that's correct.
Okay, so why are they arguing and fighting since day one, before they even swear in, before they even took office? They are fighting among each other. And today, you see what Rob Lower is saying, you know, and they title go to their head or
Well, I think it's politics. You have people representing interest groups, whether it's, you know, Democrat or Republican, or, you know, conservative or moderate, or Trump or Cruz. I mean, everybody has their interest in their groups and their way to move their agenda forward. And that this political process that we go through is how we sort it all out. So this is a natural part of the political process. I mean, I've never been one to have unity as a goal. I mean, unity is I think
it's a myth.
It's a myth, yeah. I mean, what you can do is you can work
Even
on
after the election.
yeah, you can work on a majority, you can work on a caucus, you can work on perhaps unifying a group of people on an issue.
Well, I don't know.
Sure.
I don't have any hope for. I don't have any feeling for the caucusing. I'm too old for this thing that came out new. You see, caucus is not something that I'm used to have. I think it was created probably by the Democrats to confuse people and to make everything more difficult and more disorganized than what really is. I'm used to the old-fashioned way of the what do you call the primary election, you know, that's it. And then the general election in November, you know, it's not the, why is this, all this, why they,
Why do we do the caucus?
yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, Harry Reid was a big proponent of it back in 2007. He got the
Yeah,
bill
of
through the
course.
legislature, you know, and that he didn't do it alone. There were others that were supporting him that wanted a caucus in the state because they felt that that would give the kind of political process that would let them take control. So, 2008 we have our first caucus, and Democrats do same-day registration.
What year was that?
2008.
Yeah.
That was our first caucus. Democrats did same-day registration. They registered 30,000 voters.
The Democrats.
The Democrats did, and we've been behind ever since. So they knew what they were doing. They had a plan. They worked the plan. They got enough votes to get it passed through. And then when the caucus came around, they used it wisely to build their party. So, you know, I mean,
I heard the other day that Democrats are significantly increasing their rolls right now today. How is that even possible when they have 20% down participation in the primaries or the caucus or whatever? It's like they're losing kind of people, and here they are publishing that they're getting thousands of more registrations.
it's because they're working at it. I mean, you know, it's
They're
kind
at,
of
the,
amazing.
they're at the graveyard again, copying down names, or what do you mean they're working at it?
Absolutely. Well, they've got teams of people out there that are paid to go out and do voter registration. You know, we do too, as Republicans, just in a much smaller proportion.
Wow.
You know, we don't have those millions of dollars of union money floating through our coffers
Yeah.
to fund those kinds of activities. So we have to be a bit more creative about it.
Man, it's a tough situation.
And those are the numbers. I mean, you know, that's our starting point. The number of registered
Yeah.
voters is where we all start from.
Is that more noticeable in Nevada than any other state, or?
No, Democrats are generally good at doing voter registration. I mean, they register more people dead or alive than anyone else. You know,
Yeah, dead,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, and they understand the importance of that process. You know, there are
To steal the elections.
there are groups here in Nevada, like Engage Nevada and others, that are doing that work, just not to the scale and to the degree that the Democrats do. And if we did, we would win. It's that simple. I mean, if you put that many numbers on the board, you have that many voters that are registered and eligible to vote.
So
And
what
then you
is,
do the work to get them out to vote, you win.
so what is there to do among Republicans? Then you don't think it would be more effective if instead of fighting among each other, they will start using their time a little more?
Well, I mean, you know, primaries have a purpose, and primaries are to help a party establish what they want out of their candidates. But it's a relatively short period. I mean, really, the primary season is, you know, 4 or 5 months of, candidates of various flavors going at each other,
Preparation.
and, putting themselves before the voter. Yeah, there's all of that. Yeah, you bet. But the rest of the time, yeah, we should be registering voters. One of the purposes of a party organization is to register voters. A healthy party organization should be really, really lending in that effort. During the caucus process, the Clark County Party registered. We've had, I think, 600 or 700 registrations go through the county party, just us alone. From the kinds of efforts and events and outreach that we had. And that I think that done to scale in both party and PAC and all sorts of other organizations that are able to do voter registration. Well, PACs can't do voter registration, but nonpartisan organizations that can do voter registration, C3s, things like that. That'd be great. We should do more of it because we are behind. I think we're behind somewhere between 80 and 90,000 voters here in Nevada.
How many?
80 to 90,000. I have to look at the latest numbers, but the numbers are big. We need to catch up.
Can we register people over here?
Can you mean bring those numbers up? Well, we could do it, yeah.
From here,
there are.
this office?
Yes, you bet. Do you have voter registration forms here?
No.
Well, we'll get you some.
Clark, do you have any objection to do that?
No.
I think every person, certainly every Republican, should carry around voter registration form. You bump into a friend that's not registered, here, let's take care of that for you right now. It's a fast, simple, easy process.
Really?
Yeah. I've got voter registration forms in my truck. I will leave some with you.
Okay,
You bet.
great, thank you, I appreciate that, because I think it's like, we have to identify ourselves. Well, I don't care, I don't believe that we need to be exposing our dirty laundry to the public, but I tell you one thing, I don't see unity among the Republicans in Nevada. I don't see it. And like today, this lawsuit, Rob Lawden to Paul Anderson, that should not be in the news. That should have been something that is done. I don't know if they have a reason to do it. He might be right to do that, but I didn't find any. And the Republicans need to learn to start doing something is called careful wording,
It'd be nice,
It
but
would be- because everything the Republicans do, Ed, is always mislead or is always misconstruct. People always find excuses to attack whatever the Republicans say or do.
I think there's a place for careful wording, but I have to admit, in this era of Donald Trump, I wonder. Where has careful wording gone? Donald Trump has said whatever is on his mind, whatever he feels, whatever he thinks, and has been completely honest about it and laid it out before the people, and there you go. So.
Yeah, but he is Donald Trump. Let's face it, he cannot be categorized or put in the same level as everybody else. He is a
So it
great
would
man,
seem.
and I think he's going to do great as president. I believe so. I believe that he's going to do very good. It's a shame that his campaign is not doing as much as they should be doing in Nevada. I don't see Charlie Munoz he's spreading too much. I hear that he's in Nevada and Arizona, and I don't think it's a campaign here no more, a campaign headquarters, right?
The campaign offices are closed, right?
Yeah. I don't know if that was Trump's idea or it was Charlie Munoz's idea, but I think then it should be something completely different. Then it should be taking care of that,
Well, I think I think we're all in the assumption that Trump will be our nominee, and there are a lot of us who are really looking forward for Nevada to try to get a sense of what sort of campaign operation the nominee will run. Because that's usually one of the bigger parts of what happens politically in a presidential year is what does the nominee come and do? What sort of offices do they run? What sort of field operations do they run? How do they work with the other organizations in the state, like the RNC and the other federal candidates and all those sorts of things? How does it all play out? That's what we're all looking forward to seeing, and it's really tough to judge based on the kind of campaign that Donald Trump has run so far. And he's run a very non-traditional campaign, funded in very different ways, with very different kinds of staff.
Yeah. And that's one thing that probably make people attracted to him.
Yeah, he is definitely unusual and different, and someone who breaks a lot of the stereotypes about what politics is and how you run for office and what you say and all sorts of things. Absolutely. So we're trying to get a feel for, okay, so moving past July, what does the nominees' operations look like on the ground here in Nevada, and how do we work with those to make sure that we get the victories up and down the ticket that we want? I mean, yes, we want everybody to go to the polls and check the president, but once they do that, we want them to go on down that ballot and pick good candidates for our country. And how do we make that happen? What does that look like? So
how can we make that happen?
Well, and that goes back to what is the nominee going to do? What is our presidential nominee going to be doing in terms of operations? What are our Senate and our congressional candidates going to be doing? How are we all working together towards a common goal? How are we supporting voter registration? How are we supporting voter ID? How are we supporting get out to vote? Making best use of all of our resources, all the way down to county commissioner and dog catcher. How do we make sure that everybody's doing the right thing at the right time to get people registered to vote, get good Republicans out to vote?
Well,
that's.
Let me tell you, hold on. We need to tell people that we are talking to Ed Williams, the former Clark County Republican Party chairman, now working for Congressman Crescent Hardy, and we are trying to compromise where the Republicans come back to life and stop fighting with each other. And let me tell you, I'm going to put this perspective on the table for you, because you are, like it or not, a leader for the Republican Party. People hate you, people like you, people don't like you, and people respect you. And no matter what you do, there's always somebody that agree with you and somebody don't agree with you. And I think that's part of being a leader. I don't know if I can call any of the elected officials leaders, because you have to be born a leader. You cannot make a leader. But that saying, let me tell you, I believe that the first thing we need to do is elect people that don't take their position for granted. County commissioner or dog catcher, whatever you wanted to call them, like you said, they are there because the people put them there, and they should respect the people and should give the people the respect to listen to them and take their opinion a little more serious than what they are, instead of them walk around like the poo-poo don't stink. I always disagree with that in either one of the parties, Democrat or Republican or independent, whatever. You are not better than anybody else, and I'm not better than anybody else. Let's treat people with respect and listen to what they have to say, because you're representing the people in that position as a county commissioner or city council or whatever.
Until you're elected, then you represent the special interest groups.
Excuse me?
Until you're elected, you represent the people. Once you're elected, you represent the special interest groups.
Until you get the first envelope?
Yeah, that's what.
Well, that is exactly one of the reasons I chose to go work with Crescent Hardy. I mean, he is clearly a man of the people. He's from Mesquite. He's a business owner, an entrepreneur, just like me. The only thing I've had to change, I've had to go out and buy more boots, because I'm spending a lot more time in our rural counties.
Really? About term limits?
For federal?
Yeah. federal.
I think there's a lot of people that like term limits.
Yeah, that's.
You know, the argument that I
Except
hear
the people
to
elected.
the other side is that lobbyists don't have term limits, which is interesting. You know, well, how do
They
you
need to
pit
go.
experience against inexperience? And I think, you know, looking at Congressman Hardy, he's a freshman congressman.
Mhm.
This is his first term. He's learning a lot about the process. You know, I think that he gets 4 or 6 years in, he's going to be a solid congressman. He's going to know the way things are played up there. He's going to know how to get legislation in, how to work with people, how to get legislation passed, you know, what the process is. You know, more experienced congressmen like Congressman Joe Heck. I mean, I look at him, he's a machine. I mean, I honestly don't know how these congressmen do it. I mean, they spend their time in Washington, D.C.
They go to lunch, they get their envelope.
Well, Joe Heck
Well,
is not a congressman, huh?
Well, he's a congressman now, yes.
Yeah, but
he's
he
running for
wants to go
Senate.
up.
Yes, he's running for Senate. But
This is the first term for Congress?
for Congressman Hardy, this is his first term. But
For
Joe Heck, this is his 3rd term. So he's been in 6
as a
years.
congressman?
Yes.
Oh,
And so
okay.
he's more experienced.
Okay,
But
because
you
that's
know,
another thing I don't like.
they spend half their time in Washington, D.C. You know, they have to be there to do their thing and pass the votes and committee hearings and all that sort of stuff. And then they zoom all the way back out here on every day off they have to come out here to be in their district, to meet the people, to talk and, you know, do all the stuff that congressmen do. And somehow, of course, I mean, he's not just having a family, he's Army Reserve. So he takes time off to serve in the reserves and
he's
do
a
training.
doctor also.
And he's a doctor, right? So I have no idea how he does it.
But he's not making a living as a doctor, right?
No, he's a congressman.
Okay.
But just the schedule is amazing. And then same for Congressman Hardy. It's like, you know, he's either in Congress, in session, in committee, doing all that, or he comes out here and of course, Congressman Hardy has a gigantic district.
Yes.
I mean, it's the north half of Las Vegas, Clark County, and extends, you know, all the way over to 9.
You got Bunker Bill too?
Right, yeah, I mean, all up in the north and Tonopah and all, I mean, you know, like half the state going north, you know, until it bumps up against Amadeus, you know, up north of, you know, Hawthorne. I mean, it's a massive district. So I mean, he's got a big job in keeping in touch with all his constituents, on top of flying back and forth to Washington, D.C. to do his job.
Do we have 4 congressmen now? Is it?
We have 4 congressmen now, yeah. So we got Congressman Joe Heck, Congressman Crescent Hardy, and then of course Congressman Mark Amodei up north in Congressional District 2. And then in the middle, right, you know, the square in the middle of Las Vegas is Dina Titus, Congresswoman, Democrat. So we have 3 out of 4 Republican congressmen here in Nevada. So it's a good thing. We're all well represented.
Yeah.
But you know, from an election standpoint, the other reasons that I decided to work for Crescent Hardy were that he has a tough race, a really tough race. In 2014, he beat Stephen Horsford. Everybody was really impressed at that.
Who's he's running against?
He's got a couple of candidates he's running against right now. I mean, they're doing battle.
Republicans or
Democrats.
Oh,
There are some Republicans in the primary.
Oh, really?
I don't know what kind of campaign they're running. So you know, that's not the campaign I'm on. So and really we're very close to the primary at this point. So I don't think he has any serious challengers at this point. So.
And who is in the Democrat?
Democrats, I believe they have 6 candidates. 3 are pretty serious. You've got Susie Lee, Lucy Flores, and Ruben Kuhn are probably the leaders in that set there. So, you know, we'll see. They'll bloody their noses and spend some money and figure out amongst themselves who's going to run against Crescent Hardy. But, you know, he's got a tough race. And if we do well in CD4, if we do well in North Las Vegas, and
Well,
you know, that it puts us in a really good position for our Senate seat, which is a very, very important race this year.
Let me tell you, I believe that I wrote about this a few weeks back, and I'm going to put that to you so you can keep that in mind. I believe Harry Reid is not going to retire. I believe Harry Reid is preparing the baseball game. I already wrote about that. He wants to put Cortez Masto. He want to put either Ruben Kuhn, which is his baby. He got Dina Titus. He wants to keep his power behind the scene, and we need to avoid that.
And the opponents need to run against that.
Yeah.
Because I think his name in Nevada is very bad.
And I think they need to get together, sacrifice the ego, and start supporting and helping the person that have more chances to win that election. We need to take the power from Harry Reid. He's not going nowhere. He's going to be manipulating everybody like a little puppeteer, you know, and this is what people don't want to understand. And what is there to not to understand? Even me with my stupid accent, I can understand that.
Harry is not going away.
No, he's not
doubt.
going away, and we need to get him
The only
away.
question is how far behind the scenes will he be playing? You know, that's.
Oh no,
he will
he's
be
that
there.
arrogant. He will not be too behind, you see.
Yeah.
He's that arrogant. You know, he is the most despicable human being I ever met. And that is my opinion, nobody else in this table, my personal opinion, you know.
Well, obviously, Joe Heck is running against Harry's handpicked candidate. That's clear. She's got the nod for the Democrats on
Who?
Nice.
Masto.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in CD4 though, I mean, there's still a primary there. So it remains to be seen if Harry's handpicked candidate gets in CD4 or if it's someone else. They've actually got a vigorous competition going there. So we'll see who shows up in the north side of town.
Now, let me ask you a question, and excuse my ignorance, but do you have to be an American-born person to run for Senate? No.
For Senate, no, not that I'm aware of. No,
No.
just for president.
I was wondering why how Reuben Kibble was running, because he wasn't born here, so.
Just
Right.
going to be a citizen.
Yeah, the other thing most people don't know is that technically to run for Congress in a congressional district, you don't have to live in that congressional district.
Yeah.
A
That,
lot of people
that I
don't
know.
realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, that I know.
Mhm.
And
Well, because there's multiple districts, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, and there are people that don't live in
At
CD3
large.
that are running for CD3, those sorts of things. I mean, that's there's not a requirement that
you don't even need to be in the same state.
Mm-hmm. Well, and part of it too is making accommodation for redistricting and things like that. I mean, when they
Right.
redraw the districts, periodically you see things where the congressman gets drawn out of his own district. You know,
Right.
it happens. So
Yeah,
that's.
So
I think there's a party situation is you have a for and you have an against. And you'll never have anything but that with two parties. You're gonna have a for and you're gonna have an against, no matter what comes up. What company runs like that? Where inside your company, you always have half the company's for and half the company's against. That company would be broke. It wouldn't make it. It would collapse. Why do we run our country this way? People get elected and then they completely forget who elected them and they're off with their special interest buddies.
Yeah,
And
well,
you're working for the party.
I think that our founding fathers had the wisdom of check and balances. That,
But we
you know,
haven't used checks and balances.
Right. I mean, all right. So I'm an entrepreneur.
You're infringing upon the other part, the other branch.
Yeah, but I'm an
If the
entrepreneur.
legislature says to a judge, wait a minute, we have statute here, you didn't rule by the statute.
Yeah,
They
I mean-
won't do it, they won't even bring it up. Oh, that's infringing on the judiciary.
In my company, I'm a dictator.
Right,
You know, I'm an entrepreneur.
Right.
Buck stops here. Whatever I say goes. That's the way the company's run.
That's
In other
right.
companies, you have maybe a board or what
and
have
if
you.
you're
that-
bad, you fail.
Right.
No,
or
that's
when you're
not-
bad, you get fired.
that's not being
Well,
a dictator.
or you fail, yeah.
That's not being a dictator. That is being what they call me? No, they call me a power freak.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
A
So
power freak.
and
I'm
then-
a power freak because I want to run the company the way I want
right.
it.
So and we don't want to run our country that way. I mean, that's all fine and dandy for a company, and that makes for efficient operations of a company. To make
Yeah,
sure-
because
but-
it is
yeah.
fine and dandy because I put in my
What's
money where
Obama?
I put my
We don't want to
money.
run our country that way? What have we been doing for 7.5 years?
Obama.
With Harry Reid.
Obama could
combination
definitely use a few
policy.
checks and balances. Thank goodness we have an election coming up.
Yeah, no.
Right.
And we definitely do not want Hillary Clinton in, who is just a continuation of what Obama has been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like I was telling the other day over here in this radio show, when I work for the Golden Nugget, I take orders, I don't argue the orders. If they tell me do this, I do that. And that is what those elected politicians should be doing. They should be listening to the people who elected them. I am a dictator, like you said. I'm a power freak over here, but it is my money. I put my money where my mouth is. If I lose my money. I don't lose anybody else's money.
And
Well,
in the government,
sometimes
it's the
Clark's
people's
money.
money.
Sometimes Clark money, but nobody else. I don't believe that it should be that way. I don't believe it should be where the elected officials think they are more intelligent than we are, or they are more savvy than we are. They should give the people the respect. I never been able to understand why they have to give people, they go in front of the city council or the county commissioner 3 minutes to talk. What can you say in 3 minutes? By the time that you say, hello, good morning, thank you for allowing me to, no, thank you allowing me for what? I got the right to go there and talk. I don't believe that I should be thanking any board members for allowing me to talk. Am I wrong? You are the expert. I'm not.
I do not see you kissing the ring, Rolando, no. No, that's, you go there, you state your case, you are a citizen just like the rest of us, and you have the right to speak, and our elected representatives are there to work for you, yes.
And sometimes people are stupid enough to elect those people who, let me take a picture with you, and let me take a picture with you, and how is the kids doing? They don't even know if they got kids or not.
Well, your politics does attract its share of narcissists, doesn't it?
Am I wrong?
No.
Am I saying anything wrong?
I think there are certainly elected officials that behave like that. Let's hope that in the end they're held accountable at the ballot box, just like Hillary Clinton will be. She's not.
What do you think about her?
What do I think?
What do you think is going to happen to her now that this is not a prediction or anything,
No,
just an opinion. What do you?
How could someone feel that they're that far above the law that they break it with abandon and are not held to account? I mean, what's going to happen? I mean, there's lots of possibilities. I mean, we have possible indictments.
If you think that will come, you think that day will come. Do you really got that much faith in this government?
The question is when. When will it come?
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
So what are they
Obama might pardon her on his last day. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Very interesting. Yeah, I never thought about
Actually, he could have pardoned her at any time, but that's one of the possible outcomes. Now, should someone who's been pardoned by the president for crimes that have resulted in the death of our people, should they be running for our highest office in the land and have any chance of election? No, absolutely not. But that's welcome to the Democrats for you. It's like that doesn't make them blink. So.
That's another thing that I don't understand. The higher office in the land, why? The president, in my opinion, honestly, is a decorating figure. The Congress, the Senate, is the one that, without the Congress and the Senate, the president cannot move a finger.
That's the way it's supposed to be. The president executes the laws, faithfully executes the laws, and does what Congress says. Yes, you bet. That's his job.
And I think whoever is the president should be, with the exception of Donald Trump. I think whoever is the president should be grateful that if we elect him to be the president of the United States of America.
Why would Donald Trump be any different?
Because Donald Trump is going to save this country. In my opinion, he's the only person.
I think he may still be grateful, though.
He'll be grateful?
Yeah, I think he'll be grateful.
Yes, I think he will. Yes. Yeah, I think he's as much arrogant as the people think he is, as arrogant as he pretends to be. I think he's humble enough to be grateful, because he need to be the president as much as I need a hole in my head. Okay? No matter what he do, he can be rest assured that he got enough money to live the rest of his life. And his kids are making money like hell now. They are very, very. He chose to be a good parent. He teach his kids good, and I believe that he's a human being. He's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna do anything possible not to make the mistake, and if he make a mistake, I think he'll be able to correct the mistake. Because it takes a man to correct the mistake. It takes a man to admit that he was wrong.
You know, if you don't make mistakes, you're not taking any risks.
That's right. But I think he will be a president that will go in history with 100% qualification, I believe. Maybe I'm putting too much hope in him, but I believe that we need to secure the borders. I believe that we need to stop being so generous with other countries. You know, this insult. Then that's why I don't like. What's the name of the other senator?
Cruz?
No, the other senator in Nevada.
Heller.
No, the other one.
That Harry Reid guy?
No.
Nevada senator? Wait, sorry, state senator?
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Federal.
What? Dean Heller, Senator Dean Heller, and Senator
Dean Heller.
Dean Heller, yes.
Dean Heller. He got no business going to Cuba to do anything to kiss Castro's ring. You know, I don't believe it. I think that's an insult to the people of Cuba that live here in this country now. These people and Raúl Castro said very clearly, we're not going to give nothing in return. We just want the Guantanamo base, and that's it. You know, they call the president the N-word in the newspaper, in the front page. And you know, they want, Raúl Castro wasn't even there to welcome the president. That's a humiliation. That's an insult, you know.
Well, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of team Trump sees for himself. Vice president, cabinet, that's really what I'm looking at. Because to me, that's going to be a really good indicator of.
Yeah, I would not vote for Dean Heller. I would not vote for Dean Heller. I will vote for anybody that runs against Dean Heller, as long as he's a Republican. I will not vote for a Democrat. But I would not vote for Dean Heller. I would not forgive him for going into my country and kiss the hand of the man that has killed so many Cubans, innocent Cubans. Maybe a few were guilty of whatever crime they are, but very, very rare. My father used to have an assistant. Then all he do is drive the station wagon and go to the grocery store and go to the dry cleaning, and they kill him in the firing squad because he was working for my father.
Well, you know, I mean, this is an extension of you know, the way we've treated other countries. I mean, whether it's Egypt or Syria or whatever it is. I mean,
yeah,
our foreign policy has been disastrous.
Yes, definitely.
You know, it's you know, Hillary Clinton. I believe it was actually Trump that said, you know, one of the worst Secretary of State we've ever had, and you know, he's not wrong on that. She has been just horrid in her policies. You know, the Obama-Clinton foreign policy is
But you know,
a mess, an absolute mess.
Ed, I think that's the consequence of the arrogance. They both are very arrogant, Bill and Hillary. They both very arrogant. They think they are God-gift to the world. They think people have to take their word for granted, and I don't think it's helping them right now, to be honest with you.
She certainly made it clear that she can break any law that she likes and expects to get away with it. Sure.
She said that?
Well, that's her actions.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
yeah. No, I thought because she's not.
National security is obviously not a big priority for her. You know?
But it's not a priority for Obama either. But of course, we hope that Obama is not running. You know,
I'm pretty sure Obama is not running.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, I love the
you know, anything is possible.
Confidence that
Anything's possible.
you Americans have.
I'm also pretty sure Trump is going to be our nominee. But until he's our nominee, I don't know.
What do you mean he's not going to be the nominee? He's not. He's the only candidate right now. Can the party name somebody else?
That is a possibility, yes. That's why we have a convention. That's why we elect delegates and have a convention, is to make that decision. And he's not the nominee until he's the nominee. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be the nominee. But until he is the nominee, you know, and I'm pretty sure that Obama is not going to run for office again.
Well, he's not.
But until he's out.
Wait a minute, yeah, that's right.
Until he's out.
He might
right.
not be running for office, but that doesn't mean that he's not gonna stay in the White House.
There is a difference between possibility and probability. You know, it's highly probable that Donald Trump will be.
Say that to me. What is the difference?
The difference between possibility and probability, it is.
Yeah, because I don't speak English.
Okay, well, it is probable that Donald Trump will be our nominee, but it is possible that he will not be. It is probable that Obama will not be our president, you know, after January 2017, but it is possible that he could be. So you can't lose sight of either.
You know, let me tell you, he's the first black president in this country. He is the first president that go out of this country and apologize to every one of our enemies or people that don't like us. He's the first president that go and getting his knee in front of the Cuban regime. He might be the first president dictator in the United States. And that's what I'm scared of. That's what I'm scared of.
It's possible, but not probable.
I hope not. I hope you're right, Mr. Williams. I hope you're right, because I tell you, I don't think it's anybody in this, and I'm not a hypocrite. The people that know me, they can tell you I'm not a hypocrite. I don't think it's anybody in this world that can love this country more than I do, okay? And I will, first of all, looking at my personal interest, I got no place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I going to go? I can't go back to my country. I cannot go back to Ecuador. I cannot go back to Venezuela. I cannot go back to Russia because I'm not.
What, all of those lovely communist and socialist paradises, you don't want to go back?
No.
Oh, and you don't want Hillary and Obama to turn America into a socialist paradise?
They're trying very hard.
They're trying very hard, yes.
They're trying.
And it is no paradise.
And the people don't realize that, Ed. People don't realize that.
I really wish that Venezuela got more coverage in the U.S. press. What's happening down there is a very, very, very clear demonstration of exactly what socialism is and how it does not work and the consequences of making those kinds of choices for your country. I wish Venezuela got a lot more press here in the U.S. because it is a disaster down there. I mean, disaster.
I know. And that was a beautiful country. That was a very wealthy country. It was a paradise. I tell you, before I met Costa Rica, my idol country was Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
I love Venezuela.
And now they've got, you know, empty grocery stores and power outages.
They don't even have toilet paper.
Right. I mean,
the government is working 2 days a week to save power.
And they managed to do that in less than 10 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're 8 years into Obama reign. Hillary Clinton will make sure that's done before hers is out. So we do not want Hillary Clinton. We do not want socialism. We certainly don't want Bernie Sanders.
Well, of course. That's it.
That's even
I go without saying.
a shade worse than Hillary, I think. You know, it's like, no, that's.
Do you think Joe Biden is going to run into? Johnny is going to jump into the race, Ed? If I ask you any question and you don't want to answer, please.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if Hillary gets taken out, will Joe Biden come in? Yeah, I think it's a definite possibility. I mean, you know, there's a handful of people that might step in at that point, but you know, part of it is it before or after their convention? How close to the election are we? All those sorts of things all kind of play into it as to who steps up if Hillary stumbles. So, because if it's before the convention, they can still nominate anyone.
Who else is?
Well,
who else is there besides Joe Biden and the Democrats?
You know, just like the Republicans, in a sense. I mean, if it's before their convention, at their convention, they can nominate anyone that's eligible. I mean, so can the Republicans. I mean, we can, we can nominate anyone. I mean, it's you know,
but
it's
you
possible.
see, that was not the way it was 10 years ago. There was the delegates the delegates, it didn't exist 10, 15 years
Well,
ago.
the delegates have existed the whole time. It's just been pretty clear in most cases. I mean, we've had a number of test conventions over the years. I mean, you know, President Abraham Lincoln walked into the convention with only 22% of the votes. He walked out the nominee. And it's happened, you know, Harding,
How come I never
Harrison.
hear of those delegates before?
Well, you have to read history. I mean, our party has a rich history. I mean, we've people people who neglect their history are doomed to repeat it. You know,
Yes.
the Republican record on civil rights, on slavery. I mean, all these issues that people have, you know, forgotten in their history. You know, the way we select our nominee.
Or didn't know about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Some people like me, I didn't know.
I mean, you look at the presidential election process. Yes, I mean, the delegates are elected by their individual states' processes, and those delegates get to determine the rules, whatever they are, of the convention. They can
Yeah,
change.
but that is not been like that all
Sure.
through the history of
Yes.
this country,
Yeah.
200 years ago.
Mhm. The delegates elect the nominee. The delegates determine the rules for the convention. Always has been. And in most cases, things have gone
So
the way
let
that
me
we
ask you
think it's
something.
gone. Yeah.
Let me ask you something else, and please forgive my stupidity and my ignorance. What are we voting for?
Well,
What are we voting for?
in most cases,
Yeah.
a nominee that goes in with the majority of the delegates, nobody has ever been willing to change the rule that says if you win a majority, you win. I mean, I don't think anybody would ever change the rule. If you walk in with the majority of the delegates, the majority of you know, the people in your state have awarded the delegates such that you have a majority of them, I don't think anybody's ever been willing to change that rule. So, and I don't think that would be the case. That would be, but there's all sorts of other things that happen. I mean, you know, if someone doesn't walk into a majority, that's where it starts to get interesting. I think at this point it looks like Trump's going to walk in with a majority. Okay, fine, that's great. That makes it very simple. The process is very, very simple.
The majority.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the delegates have to elect him to be a
In theory, the delegates could change the rules. Sure, I think they would be very reluctant to do so, especially, you know, with someone.
But remember that a lot of these people, look at the Bushes, said now they're not going to support Donald Trump.
Well, I don't know if they're delegates or not. So it
No,
comes
I don't
down
know.
to the voice of the people. You know, we elect our delegates, we send the delegates to Cleveland, they do
Because
the job of selecting
people
our
don't
nominee.
like the idea that he is changing the political construction of the parties. You know, he know the game. He played the game from the outside. So
And if he walks in with the majority of the delegates, there you go. He's going to be the nominee. I mean, I really don't think that, because the rules
yeah.
of the convention are determined by the delegates. There are two people from every state, a man and a woman, from every state and territory that go onto the rules committee. 112 people. There are delegates. They determine the rules for the convention. So you would have to have a majority of the people in the rules committee that were elected as delegates from the state to decide to change the rules in some way. And I don't think they would
Is
be
that go
likely
state
to.
by state, or that go by the country as a whole?
The country as a whole, yeah. So there's 112 delegates. They would have to vote whatever rules for the convention by a majority. And, you know, if Trump is already walking in with a majority of the delegates, that means it's likely that he has a majority of the delegates on the rules committee too. So there you go. It is highly unlikely that if you walk in with a majority of the delegates, you're not going to be the nominee. Very unlikely. So, which is why I think everybody is viewing,
Interesting.
Yeah, I think everybody's viewing Donald Trump as the likely nominee at this point, based on where he's at, and you know, he's got some more delegates to win, and he will probably win them. So there you go.
I tell you, I don't know if this would be a fair question to ask you, because the fact is that maybe people listen to your opinion and you can confuse people sometimes by expressing your personal opinion. You think he would do a good job as a president?
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He would do a far better job than Hillary Clinton, no doubt about it.
I'm not talking about
Yeah.
She's not going to be the president. I'm not talking about that. You think he can be something
As
that
president,
will give people in this country hope? And no hope and change, believe me.
Right.
No hope and change.
You know, okay, so for me personally,
Yeah.
I have never been the type of person to put any individual up on a pedestal and expect them to solve my problems for me.
Definitely.
That's not my
I
value as a
agree.
Republican.
I agree.
So,
I
so
agree.
am I expecting that of Donald Trump? No,
No.
I'm not.
No.
I am.
He's a human like you
Right.
and I.
I know that I have a job to do. We have to elect good congressmen, we have to elect good senators, we have to run our states in responsible ways, we have to do all those things as responsible citizens. So, and I'm not expecting Donald Trump to fix my problems or you know, make up for the fact that I'm not doing my job as a citizen.
And that is one of the problems that I find in the Democrats. They don't want the government to tell them what to do, but they depend on the government. You know, if you want to be independent, be independent. You know, I don't need the government to pay for my college. I don't need the government to pay for my food. You know, and that is the socialist.
And I do not expect that of any President Trump either. But
no,
of course, I think it's very easy to say at this point that President Trump will be unlike any other president we've ever seen. He's going to say and do things that are not politically correct and
Yeah.
unexpected. You know, and it remains to be seen what that is. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
It is
you know,
true.
it could be. It's probably a lot of little things too. You know, it's like when the State of the State comes around, or sorry, State of the Union comes around, and he makes a speech. Is he going to even make the speech? Is he going to address Congress? What is he going to say? You know, all the various, you know, ceremonial things that the president does, the treaty things that the president does, and of course, you know, Supreme Court appointments. Of course, very important.
very.
Which will, you know, what he does with Supreme Court appointments may vary based on whether or not we have control of the Senate. So,
But also, I believe that Donald Trump, because his wealth and his position in business, is used to all this elegance and all these diplomatic things, then he will do grateful. He will put gracefully the president's position during another president visiting to United States. And,
I mean, he certainly experienced
Yeah.
being
You know what I'm
public
trying
and
to say.
wealthy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to change his character. No.
No, I
certainly
think
not.
he's used to that. He's used to that. But, you know, I believe that we all have, like you said, we need to put a little bit of our part to help.
We have
And
to,
the
yeah,
change.
yeah. It's not just go elect Trump. It's elect Trump and do the rest of our job as citizens to make sure we have a country that we want. Yes.
How can we, as a newspaper, and as a citizens, can help to do that? How can we, what do you think our position as a newspaper should be?
Encourage citizens to go out and support candidates that they believe in,
Oh,
that have their values.
We've been doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And once those politicians have been elected, help them hold those politicians accountable, educate the voters as to what's going on up in either Carson City or Washington, D.C., and let them know what's going on and how it impacts them so that the voters can make the best possible decision on whether or not they want to keep those politicians after they've made those decisions.
Let me ask you something else now, and I know that you're working for an elected official that is running for re-election, and you got to be very careful what you said, and I don't want to compromise your candidate on any way or shape, because I invite you here today because I respect your opinions. I always like that, so I'm not here to. What is your opinion on the John Smith walking out of the Review Journal?
Oh, interesting.
Are you
Well,
familiar
yes,
with that?
I am. Interesting. You know, that's what has happened in the last few months or half a year or whatever it's been. You know, with the transition in the ownership and the changing of the guard and the editorial staff and you know, I've seen two things. One thing that I've seen a group of journalists stand up for journalistic integrity and excellence, and there have been a number of them over there that have. I mean, you know, isn't it interesting when a newspaper breaks its own story about trying to figure out who its owner is? You know, I mean, that's almost surreal, you know?
Why?
Well, I
Why?
mean, but I mean, that was the beginning of it. And now we're coming all the way around to a columnist who has written stories about the new owner of you know, the Review Journal and some other people in town who are politically powerful, and felt that he couldn't do his job. And I think that's very sad for the Review Journal. I mean, that's our newspaper. That's where we get a lot of information from. And if a journalist can't do their job in educating the voter and exposing what's going on, that's really unfortunate.
It is. But I tell you one thing, that's what I do. I don't know, maybe I think different, but what was the difference who the ownership was? That should have been something that happened in a slow news day, because what a big deal about who owned the paper or not. How many people in this town really know the Stevens?
I don't know, but
I mean,
leadership matters. Leadership matters. I mean, you know, when
yeah, but they have a good leadership. They got Tom Mitchell and they got Frederick Sherman.
Right.
You know, that was the people that was in here in the community. Who, the Stevens, they live in Arkansas. They don't even live here.
Right. Yeah.
You know, what
Yeah,
leadership?
no, I think the character of the paper has changed quite a bit, and will probably continue to change even more as it tries to find
For
where.
the worse or for the best? It's okay.
You know, it's tough. I mean, I think that a lot of the journalists that are there are making the case has been for the worst, and are leaving. You know, and that's unfortunate. So, I mean, we'll see how it settles out. I mean, obviously, new journalists will come in. They'll get a new editorial voice. We'll see what kind of stories they write about whom, and if they're willing to, you know, continue to pursuing the job of
But I tell
Nevada's
you one
largest
thing,
newspaper. We should
but
say.
also in the other hand, Sheldon Adelson was not the only person that was doing wrong things, or Steve Wynn was not the only person. To me, people that do things in their own, like I said before, in their own private enterprise, it's their money. They can do whatever they want with their money. People, I think newspapers should be more concentrating on the political part of the city or the state or whatever. You know, I don't think because Sheldon Adelson or Steve Wynn, which is the two people, then they accuse John Smith of writing about it. I don't think it make any difference what they do in private life or who their partners are or anything like that.
Well, you could also make the case, though, that people like that are very influential and are very, very large employers in our state
Yeah.
are of public interest. You know, decisions that they make affect a lot of people here in Nevada. So you could certainly make the case that what they do is of interest to the people because their decisions, even though they are private, affect so many people.
Directly or indirectly, because
Both. I mean,
tell you, I don't
they're big
see-
employers in big industries with lots of influence, and they also exercise a lot of influence over our political process. So, I mean,
Oh,
you
the
can-
political
yes,
process.
sure.
Yes.
So I think you can make the case that you know
Yeah.
the things that they do and the decisions they make and how their companies and they conduct themselves. That's of interest to
And
people.
also you got people like Steve Wynn, where he had a political team, then it was better than none, you know. And
Yeah.
he got a phone room, he got a political strategy in there, in the Mirage, then it was unbelievable. It
Yeah,
looks
well,
like,
you know,
it looks like a campaign headquarters.
and you know, freedom of speech indicates that we are all allowed to have the amount of political influence that we want to have. You know,
And
we-
Steve
you know, so,
his
but
people.
you know, if there are journalists that wish to talk about the kind of political influence that any of us have, there you go. You know? There you go. That's of interest to the public because it affects our government.
Well, that's part of living in an almost a free country.
Almost a free country?
Thank you, Ed William, for being here today. Thank you for this wonderful conversation. It's a shame that Mr. Producer is not here anymore to say the last word. You know, I don't know where Clark Philly is, but we need somebody to get us off the air.
That's right.
Don, can you tell Clark that we finished?
Where is it?
In my office. I thought he was listening to us.
No, hopefully he's making some money, right?
Huh?
Making us some money, right?
No, it's just that I don't get along with
Oh.
that guy.
Yeah, he's not going over the papers or.
I know, but we need to get off the air. And Ross is not gonna go nowhere.
I don't know what button to hit, so. I hit it.
That's what I told him.
Thank you, sir.
Hold on, you leaving? You don't wanna wait?
Forty-two G, 110G. Sorry, tied up in a meeting.
I know, but Ross is not gone anywhere.
Oh, he's
Ross can
not?
wait.
Oh, okay.
You know,
That is true.
All right, I guess you did it. Fine.
I don't know if I did it right or not, but
All right, I'll check it.
So what's going on now? The Cruz is out of the race. What's everything?
What cruise race?
No, I'm talking about Cruz was just resigned from the race against Trump.
Yeah.
That's
Kasich as well.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of, but I guess he lost, got trounced, so.
It's a one-man show.
I was
Well,
asking Ed, I said, why do we
one
waste
man
time and
show
effort
gets
on
one
having a
lesbian
convention
show.
in Cleveland?
Well, you know, we
Why
talked
don't
about
we
that
do
on the
that?
show. We talked about it on the show. It's like, we elect delegates that elect our nominee.
So
We
you
don't,
say
we
they go by
don't, we
the
don't
rules.
have a nominee yet.
Yeah, we don't have.
The
any-
delegates can elect anyone they want to be a nominee.
So they could elect potentially even Cruz.
Well,
Still, or Kasich.
The delegates determine the rules of the convention, and the
how about
delegates
the
elect their
first
nominee.
ballot?
The delegates can change the rules for the first ballot if they
Well,
want.
at the convention.
They could.
Now, do you think that's a legal environment there?
Well-
You think the people of the country are gonna
You
go
know,
for that?
now.
It would be a riot.
It's as legal as anything else.
Well, the reality is if Trump walks in there with a majority of the delegates, that means he also probably has a majority of the members on the rules committee. And the rules aren't gonna change.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
highly unlikely.
Oh,
But, you know.
hey, let's say all
But
this
it's
is.
it's like the election.
Now,
If-
if Hillary was running the show, it would just, you could get all the information off of her server. You know what I mean? That'd be a
Well,
problem.
the guy in jail did, that hacker.
During the election, if no presidential nominee gets a majority of the electoral college votes, then it's a plurality and it goes to the House of Representatives.
No, I think.
That's the Constitution. I mean, the people would be like, what? What?
I think I met you
Well-
before at one of the, you're a computer guy, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I met you before.
Yeah, so I mean,
Meetings.
what would the people think if the House of Representatives seated someone else?
Reince Priebus gets up there and he tries to explain this majority on TV. And he almost tripped himself up, and he did a little bit, but he kind of caught himself. But when you're electing one person, we're nominating one person.
Correct.
So the majority that he's referring to, this magical 1237, if you have 17 people in the friggin' race, some one person might not get to 1237.
That's
But he's
correct.
gonna have the plurality, and we elect the winner of the most votes is who we nominate. Forget this magical number
Well,
of
no, the delegates
1237.
could change the rules so the plurality wins. They could.
Well, they could, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
It's
virtue
a
of being able to do
I don't think
anything makes it a whole illegal process, in my opinion. Because there are no rules going in.
It's just like Congress, okay, you know?
Actually, you're right.
Yeah.
There are no rules for that.
There are no,
There
yeah.
aren't any.
That's why they have a rules committee that has two people from every state and territory that sit on rules and determine the rules for the convention. Because there are no rules going in, because they set the rules for that convention. It's true.
Right.
Absolutely true.
So it's just like Congress. I mean, what Congress
Yeah.
does, if they're passing an illegal law, or if they, like they did with the 14th Amendment, what they did is, they couldn't get the 10 southern states to pass it. And so what they did is, they declared them in rebellion. This is after the war's over with, 2 years. 2 years after the state governments in the South have been collecting taxes, the post office has been open, and all the legislatures have been sitting. They just declared them in rebellion because they wouldn't sign off on the 14th Amendment. Because the second part of the 14th Amendment says the public debt shall not be questioned. And they
This
said,
is
no, we're
why
not going to agree to
there's
that.
been a king or two
Yeah.
in France that lost their heads along with their wives.
Yeah, but,
You know, there's a
here's the difference.
When things get a little
In
too out of
France,
whack.
people know when to rebel. In America,
Well, not
nobody
yet.
knows what the fuck is going on
Right.
because they're so stupid because they watch TV. And they watch TV and they think, that guy knows what he's talking about. He's just telling you what somebody else is telling him to
Of
tell
course,
you.
of
And
course.
that doesn't mean anything he has to say is right. It's like this Bundy thing where they're after, but they're trying to put this old man in prison.
They're not
The federal
trying.
government, I know he's in jail right now. The federal government doesn't even own that land. They never did. They got rid of it in 1866. I mean, Congress gave it to the state of Nevada, and then the state of Nevada had to do some legislative act to accept it, to validate. You know, in other words, say they had to like sign off on it somehow. So what they did is they did a joint resolution of both houses, right? But then the governor kept saying we need to do something more. We need to actually pass an act. So in 1982, what happened is prisoners started filing these post-conviction writs and saying before 1982, but they started filing these post-conviction writs and said, hey, we read the Constitution. And the Constitution of the state of Nevada gives jurisdictional boundaries, and Clark County is not included in it. So the Nevada Constitution, the judges, the courts, everything in Clark County is illegal. Okay? And he was right. But the problem is, nobody gives a fuck. You know, they don't care what the law is. They just make shit up as they go along. The Nevada Supreme Court is one of the worst. And so what happens is, in 1982, they finally say, you know what, we do have a problem here, because the guy ran for governor, and he said, look, Clark County's not even part of the state. Well, it was part of the state, it's just that the Constitution didn't apply to it. So it was in the jurisdictional boundaries. So what happened is, in 1982, and nobody knew what the hell it says, the question was to extend the constitutional boundaries of the state of Nevada to the physical boundaries. Now, what the hell does that mean? Nobody knows. They voted for it. It passed, but hardly anybody voted on it. You know what I'm saying? So, but it passed, and I got a copy of that from Sagaski. But the bottom line is, I mean, that was really probably the proper acceptance. So until 1982, okay, that land, until 1982, that land could be argued that it was federal land, because they gave it in a congressional act in 1866. But they didn't really, you know, there could be an argument there that it was not state land. Okay, but after 1982, there's no argument whatsoever that it's not that it's state land. And here's the thing: in 1864, we made the argument, or we wanted to become a state, you know. And there's all these arguments about, oh, you know, because Abraham Lincoln wanted to get elected and he wanted to do delegates from the state or whatever. You know, I think it had something more to do probably with 14th
I thought
Amendment.
delegates weren't important.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, but my point is this, and that is that, so Congress passed what they called what the hell is it? The Admissions Act, okay, for Nevada. And they said that Nevada could become a state, but it had to give all the public lands or unappropriated, means lands that people hadn't homesteaded or, you know, whatever, didn't have any right to. They had to give all the public lands to the federal government, and the federal government would sell them, and you know, over a period of time, but it didn't specify. It would sell them and give the money to some of the money to the state for the purposes of roads and schools and things like that. But what happened is they hardly sell anything. They just hung on to it and then created this big military-industrial complex out here called the test site. You know, and but the problem is that when Nevada formed, it was cut off right at the top of Clark County, and then the right-hand side, there was about a 81-mile stretch that was not part of the state, that later on, they took that out of the territory of Utah. And the Congress gave that to the Nevada too. So that land, none of that land there is federal. That's all state land, because when they gave those two sections, and they gave Clark County, finally gave it to in 1866, gave Clark County to Nevada, they put no restrictions on it whatsoever. They didn't say you have to, that we're keeping the federal, that the
Is
public.
that where the
unappropriated-
Bundys is?
Yes, and the Bundys are right there in the Gold Butte area. They're on state land. But the problem is, Bundy got an attorney or represented himself or did whatever, and acquiesced that he was on federal land. Well, I mean, he says he never did that. He says that it's state land. It's not federal land.
He claims.
But he's 100%
He paid the
correct.
state $6,500 in rent for the land, and
Well,
the state gave it back, gave it to the feds.
Yeah, well, whatever, but my point is, so here's our governor of our state, doesn't even know the history
Right.
of our state, doesn't care, is a former federal judge, and he just says that whatever the feds say is what the truth is. That's
Yeah.
what the law is, okay? But here, how did he get to be a federal judge? He got interviewed by Leif Reed. Leif Reed is the son of Harry Reid. Leif Reed's job, his dad appointed him to the job of interviewing the judges
Yeah.
for him,
Rubber stamp.
so he could appoint them to the bench
Mhm.
in Nevada and for the entire Ninth Circuit. So he knows, so here I am, I walk into the chambers for the Ninth Circuit on a case with the law firm I work for, and when we walk in, I'm talking to Leif, because he's a really nice guy, he's the only normal person in the Reed family, in my opinion. We walk in the door, and all three judges go, "Hey, Leif, what's going on?" Because they all got their jobs being
Yeah,
interviewed by
sure.
him.
Right.
Leif, they know Leif, they know him. I said, I looked at the guy I work for, I said, "We just
Good luck."
lost this case."
Yeah.
And he goes, "What are you talking about? We didn't lose this case. We haven't even argued yet." And I go, "We lost because they know him personally by his first name."
Yeah.
Because his dad, I told him, I said, so I asked him, I said, "Leif, how do these guys know you?" He goes, "Oh, well, you know," he says, "Yeah, I go around and interview the judges for my dad, and he appoints them." And I'm like, "Yeah, we fucking lost." And we did. My boss was so pissed. And he goes, you jinxed us, man. I go, "You know what? You got married.
Rigged.
I didn't have nothing to do with
Well, I
that.
agree
Now
with
you're
that.
telling me I'm responsible for that too?" I said,
Rigged.
you knocked up your wife and you had kids." I said, "Am I responsible for that?" I said, "What the hell are you talking about? I have nothing to do with this. It's all about this guy right here, Leif." I said, "Nice guy. Nice guy, but
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm busy talking.
Oh, okay.
All right, gentlemen, well, I gotta go.
okay, well, anyway, yeah,
Thank you.
nice seeing you
Thank you
again.
very much.
Your
Thank
computer's
you.
company's still up and running?
Anytime you wanna come over and
You got, well, I think
fill me up.
it's gonna be an interesting year.
Yes,
We'll
it
keep
is.
you guys up to date.
Okay, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Well, I'm not with them, but, you know.
See
I
when you,
don't know these guys. I
hey,
just met 'em.
let me know when you wanna bring the congressman,
You got it. I'll let you know.
okay?
All right.
All right.
Okay, anyways.
So, Rolando. Do you know that he's a log cabin Republican?
Who?
This guy right here that just walked out?
What?
He's a log cabin Republican.